Welcome everybody to Viavi Solutions OneExpert demo. We're going to be doing a live demo today for you. We're going to be showing you the OneCheck TDR and the G.fast module. And for your presenters today, you've got myself, Stephanie Burris, the Marketing Manager for Viavi's Access and Wi-Fi Solutions, Jeff Passmore, who's one of our Solutions Consultants, and Justin Nagel, who's the Product Line Manager. Sorry, I'm having trouble forwarding the slide. Alrighty, okay. So let me introduce these two products here on screen. You may be familiar with the HST 3000. For about 10 years now, it's been the leading XDSL tester out in the field. There's over 100,000 users out in the field as of now. And then on the right, you will see the OneExpert broadband series family. And this particular product is a fairly new platform for us. It's about 1.5 years old. And so you might ask, why have we built an additional product? So let me answer that. The OneExpert is basically building on the HST 3000 capabilities, but with added new capabilities that you will see there on the right. So as you may know, we're on the cusp of a new technology wave with G.fast and VDSL v35b coming out. And we also recognize that the work tasks of our customers are changing rapidly. The race is on to deliver complex multiplay services at gigabit speeds over Wi-Fi as well. And so examples of that would be, for example, Netflix, video over the top, or Skype video teleconferencing services. And those services are very sensitive to network impairments and delays. And as you go up to higher modulation schemes, you find that services are more sensitive to the network faults. So you really have to harden your plant in order to deliver and achieve those higher speeds at good quality. So the OneExpert is all about that and expanding the capabilities so that you can also address any issues in the home, coax, and wiring and Wi-Fi. All right, so building on the HST customer feedback, we also improved the usability of the product. So we've received feedback that they would like to have, customers would like to have easier navigation on the OneExpert. And if you take a look at the pictures here on screen, you may notice that the screen size on the OneExpert is a lot larger. So that's actually a touch screen just like you would have on your mobile phone. And we've built in easier leads and simpler navigation along with these additional capabilities. And the modular design is still there, though, just like the HST. And that modular design future-proofs your investment and saves you money, and it also reduces your learning curve over the time of the ownership of your product. Our customers have been benefiting from modularity on the HST for many years, so they'll be familiar with that. And right now, I'm happy to announce we're releasing our next module for the OneExpert, which, of course, is the G.fast module. Okay, so we're also in this demo today, as I mentioned, we're going to be showing you the OneExpert OneCheck TDR capability, and it's amazing. It's 10 times faster than existing TDR, and you might notice there on the screenshot that I've got there, it will identify the kind of fault that is on your line, and so that's extremely helpful. It allows a novice to use the product, and it's automated run and read for the most part, and we will show you that is how it works today. And so some of the types of faults that it will name are open, splice, short, and bridged out. These are common problems on copper lines. And of course, as I mentioned, as we go to higher speeds, like on G.fast, you'll need to fix some of these items, or else you'll find that you have bad service. All right, so just in case no one has heard of G.fast or VDSL v35b, let me introduce these so that everyone knows what we're talking about. These are new telco XDSL network topologies. And so on the screen here, I'm showing you the current and new network topologies for the telco market. So you're familiar probably with ADSL and common VDSL, but the VDSL v35b is the new profile I mentioned. And then G.fast is also new, and that one can go up to 1 gigabit per second, 500 on the upstream, 500 on the downstream. And then, of course, we have fiber to the home. So what you'll probably notice here is that VDSL v35b and the G.fast bridge the gap between existing DSL profiles today and the fiber to the home speeds. And that's the entire point of this. It's to leverage the existing copper plant at a much lower price point, bring a high-speed service to the customer, and get it out to the customer much faster. And in some cases, for example, with a multi-dwelling unit like a large apartment complex, it's just cost prohibitive or physically difficult to rewire all of that. So you still have to have some copper there. And so you might bring fiber to a drop point and have that G.fast on the other side of the DPU. And the DPU, I'll show you right here, okay, replaces the DSLAM in the G.fast scheme. So with that, we want to show you how easily you can get ready for the XDSL technology wave. And I will pass it off to Jeff, who will show you the OneCheck TDR, which will allow you to find those faults and make sure that you're able to fault locate quickly instead of having to brute force segment a long line and take many more hours to do that. With that, Jeff, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Hello, folks. As a support engineer for Viavi, I've spent a great deal of time in the field with the HST over the years. And one fairly consistent comment I've heard back from our customers is that unless the technician is properly introduced to the HST, some find it rather intimidating and at the very least complex. So with that in mind, one of the important design criteria for OneExpert was to drive the complexity and sophistication across the board out of the measurements that the unit makes. Nowhere else is this better illustrated than in TDR. I'm sure all of you have on your crews or are aware of people that you would consider TDR experts. I have certainly met a handful in my life. Those people have taken the time to dedicate and sort of rise above the norm. And the other thing that it's taken to get the label of expert is a fair amount of time, right? You don't become an expert overnight. But what about the rest of the workforce? That workforce, whether or not they become experts, is more of a personal choice, but we need that workforce to become proficient. The other thing we need is that the proficiency has to be done in a very short amount of time. So with that thought in mind, we have implemented a series of changes here across all the different functions in the TDR. The one I'm showing you now is just the standard mode. There's more than one mode of operation, but I wanted to show you the standard mode and show you a little bit about navigating in the device. As Stephanie said, the screen is touch screen, and it's broken into areas of focus. As you can see, at the top is quick range. Below that is the actual return trace. Below that are different viewing options, zoom and pan. And then at the very bottom, we have gain and pulse width control. The idea, even behind our standard mode of operation, is that the user attaches to a cable pair and then simply uses quick range, plus button, to increase the range. If you look closely at the bottom of the screen, as I increase the range, the gain and the pulse width are also automatically changing. Now, the user simply walks their way out the cable until an event is discovered, in this case to the far right. The other addition that is not apparent quickly on the surface is the XY axis graph, especially the horizontal graph, or the horizontal across the bottom. The distance markers are accurate. So in the case of just quick identification of where faults are, for the second fault, for example, I could quickly look at the screen and say that event is slightly less than 2,000 feet. I don't even really have to move the cursor if I don't want to. So a lot of usability, a lot of ease of use and speed of use has gone into even the standard operation. Now, how could we improve on that? Well, as Stephanie said, the real thing that we wanted to display today was OneCheck TDR. So I'll move to that. I want you to take note that the updates in OneCheck are a little slow because we're going through the iPad application and the internet. But before me, I have 4 cable pairs on a terminal block. So what I will be demonstrating to you is how a technician would actually use this as they go from pair to pair. So here's pair 1. That's open roughly at 1,900 feet. Here's pair 2, open at 933 feet. The thing to note here is I just cut my range in half. I didn't have to touch anything on the device. Here is pair 3. I've got a slice at about 1,031 feet and an open at 2,750. And finally, pair 4, where I've got a short at about 1,899 feet. So is this an improvement in auto identification? We certainly think it is. We don't even consider it improvement. We consider it a game changer because I am not, as a user, I am not doing anything except moving from pair to pair. Now you may notice the item in the middle labeled fine tune. That is the only adjustment that a technician would have to make, and that refers to the dominant gauge of cable under test. So that's the only requirement that we ask the tech to do. And interestingly enough, I will turn fine tune on. You will see as I move gauges, they change 1/2 a gauge at a time. So a common question would be, if I'm going to set it to a gauge, what would happen if I was on mixed gauge cable? Well, we've accounted for that as a 1/2 a gain change with each plus or minus stroke. The event is also listed down at the bottom for historical. And the whole device can be viewed in landscape mode. I just thought it'd be a little bit better to show you here in portrait. So 10 times faster? Yes, all things considered, I certainly think it is 10 times faster, and pretty anxious to get it to the field and see what you all think. So with that, I will pass it over to my good friend Justin. Thank you very much, folks.
Share up real quick. Okay. So I have another OneExpert here that I'm connected to, and you can see the home screen. And what I'm going to demo is, as Stephanie mentioned, we have a new G.fast module coming out. So just a quick demo of the 35B vectoring profile. We'll do a sync to that, and G.fast. So I already created these profiles, so I don't have to change any of the settings in the instrument. And I'm going to launch the 35B vectoring profile now. I actually already went ahead and did a sync to this one, so it'd save a little bit of time during the demo while we're waiting for the modem to establish that sync. So what you can see here on the display, if you're not familiar with the OneExpert product today, right away you get launched into this summary screen, and gives you basically all the key stats that you're planning to look for your DSL. And as Stephanie had mentioned earlier, one of the reasons that we're demoing this is because of the new module, but also as the technology is being implemented with the new 35B profile and the G.fast. The reasons for that are to get these higher rates to the end customer using the existing copper infrastructure that's in place and staying competitive with fiber to the home type technology or deployment scheme. So, you know, for the VDSL 35B profile, you can see here that I have almost 350 meg that would be able to use this technology. And this is taken, it would be vectored in a vector binder, and you can have this with existing vectored pairs such as 17 meg that you might have in play. So it's not going to cause any issues with existing deployments, vector deployments that you have. You can basically take advantage of the copper pairs that are out there in the plant and get higher rate to your end customer. From a UI perspective, I'll point out some things here momentarily when I go over to the G.fast as we wait for that to connect. But again, this is the quick summary screen with all the key results you'd be looking for here. And you can see that it took 27 seconds to sync in this case, and that I'm on a vectored pair. So going back to the home screen, I'm going to launch the G.fast setup that I have. And this is connected. This is a live line that we're going to be connecting to, and the modem will reboot as it's taken the new settings and updating. So as that's booting, I'll talk through the layout of the screen here, and you can see at the top that you have basically an image of what we're doing here. You got the instrument, and then you'll see the line connected to the DSLAM, or in this case, as Stephanie pointed out, it's a DPU for G.fast. That's the new terminology for that device. And again, it's on the summary screen, and I'll wait till it connects to actually move over to some of these other results. But once it's the modem's completed booting, it'll go through the normal phases that you'd expect to see for DSL sync. It'll go from handshaking, training, and then finally showtime. And while that's going, I wanted to point out here in the upper right-hand corner, you can see this image of an RJ jack. And one of the great things about the OneExpert product is you can actually do sync over the RJ connection on the module or through the copper leads on the top of the instrument. And real quickly, depending on which one you have connected, you can just touch this icon and it'll cycle between either the copper or RJ connection. So real easy for the technician to use and straightforward. But most importantly, you can just have one set of test leads connected to your instrument for doing copper testing and then your DSL test. And so as I've been talking, you can see now we've reached showtime. The training time took about 17 seconds here. And down here in the summary screen, you can see for upstream, we have 190 meg almost, and downstream 805 meg. Now, quick before I move on, look back up towards the top, you'll see an aggregate data rate at 995 meg, so just about 1 gig. And that's looking at what the total rate is for upstream and downstream. And as we pointed out earlier, to be competitive in fiber deployments, help save money with the existing copper, you can see how this is a great new technology to get up to 1 gig aggregate data speed, as opposed to spending money to put a new fiber run into the home. So just like any other DSL sync, you'd always want to check your summary screen, but then move on to your errors. And these tabs here that you see, you can cycle left or right through these using the left and right arrow keys, or you can just touch the display and it'll move over to those pages. So it's pretty straightforward and intuitive from a user perspective as more and more people are using smartphones today. Now, I always like to make sure that when I start off, I'll clear the errors and just let the line sync, soak for a little bit and make sure that I have the results that I'm looking for. So we'll see if any errors or anything come in here. I don't expect it in the lab environment, and so I'm not going to wait any longer in this case for the demo. There's other key pages here, such as DSL retransmission stats, if that's applicable for the line, the signal page, and the identity page for the chipset and modem version that the firmware is running for the modem. Now, before you close out, after moving on from errors and any other specific pages, the results you're looking for, you always want to move to the DSL graphs. And here on the instrument, it's the second soft key. And it's, again, having this large touch display, like Stephanie said, is really nice feature for these graphs and helps you to look through these. But from just a use case perspective, it's always great to check and see what my bits per tone, SNR, quiet line noise, and H-log look like. And you can simply touch those and move through to look at what the different results are. And I'll move here looking at the bits per tone and SNR together here. I can also do quiet line noise and H-log. So again, it's great to see, am I missing any tones because of possible impulse noise? Do I have anything shown on the H-log that might represent a bridge tap, etc. And before I wrap up the demo here, if I pulled the tray down, I wanted to do a quick overview of one of the new features here in the software release. If I do a save report, you can always save the reports in a couple different formats. So nothing new there, but you can see we'll have these add customer report fields and add technician report fields. So this is referential information for the technician and the job that would be appended to those test results. And when the test results are offloaded or uploaded to FTP server or through StrataSync, these are handy to help correlate to jobs for your workflow and back to the technician. And you simply select these. It will give you a pop-up for what you want to enter. You can enter, for this example, say I want the employee ID, and I can apply these settings so I don't have to enter the technician ID every time, as well as putting other fields in. So just another quick way to help improve the job tracking and test result tracking to job sites and areas. So that wraps up the portion of the demo that we wanted to show today. Stephanie, I'll pass back over to you to close out. Thank you, everybody.
Great. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Jeff. So I don't see any questions. Are there any questions by anyone in the audience at this time? All right. Well, if there are no questions at this point, then I think we'll close out the live demo here, and we thank you for joining. We hope you were impressed by the OneCheck TDR and by seeing the new G.fast module and how easy it is to operate, how similar it is to your standard VDSL testing that you're probably doing today. And with that, we'll sign off. Thank you. Bye-bye.